Okay, so we just finished watching Moonraker. Roger, what are your thoughts?
Like, to be honest, Quentin, when I watch Bond movies today, I feel what's missing, it's a kind of playfulness, a goofiness. Like, I don't mind it being playful and goofy. I love that in those movies. And when I think about my favorite Bond movies, like you were talking about a few of your favorites, you know, my go-tos were always Diamonds Are Forever and Goldfinger. I mean, those are easy ones to go for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look. When I watched the movie, it made me wish we were watching Live and Let Die. All right, because I've only half seen that one.
That can be arranged.
No, I know that. I know. But it was making me wish we were watching Live and Let Die. And at the end, when it said, you know, stay tuned for Bond coming up next in For Your Eyes Only, I just like, oh, yeah, okay, a real movie.
Well, a movie that takes itself seriously.
Yes.
A movie that, you know, isn't allowing
With a real
itself...
Bond girl.
Hey, I love all the girls in this Bond movie. I love them all.
Okay.
I think they're all fantastic. And I just have to say also Holly Goodhead as
even the
his
name
equivalent.
Holly Goodhead is so stupid. And I actually think she has actually named that in the book.
She is not named that in the book.
Of course she's not.
She's not.
Because, okay, look, you have to remember that there was a time where the biggest sex joke ever said in a Hollywood movie was the name Pussy Galore. By the time it gets to Moonraker with her name Holly Goodhead, it's such a beyond obvious pun for a Bond movie. It's not worthy of a Bond movie. That's the kind of name that the sexy phys ed teacher in a Porky's ripoff, not Porky's, or an Animal House ripoff. Her name would be, you know, Mrs. Goodhead.
It's part of the format. Listen, it's hard for me to defend the name Holly Goodhead because it's actually a disservice to who she is, both in the original book and in this movie. I mean, when she whips out all of the, like, she's Bond. She's a Bond. She's his equivalent. Look, in other movies, we get fucking Felix Leitner.
No,
in this, we get an actual equivalent to Bond, a female equivalent who has devices and.
I like Lois Childs, but I think she's a non-entity in this movie, and I don't know if it's 100% her fault, because I think there's a situation where they never decided on what the character should be. And I think they were torn between three different ideas, and they never made a decision. And so thus she never really had a character to play. She didn't know whether shit to go blind. She couldn't go left. She couldn't go right because they wouldn't let her. I mean, just to use as another example, I mean, Jill St. John has a character in Diamonds Are Forever, and you can like her, you can not like her, but she plays the character, and there's a contrast to her with Bond, and there's a contrast to everything else. She's just kind of, you know, and forget about the fact that it seems as if her entire performance is post-dubbed, which makes her never sound like she's in the same room.
It does sound like that. It does sound like that. There is a kind of detached...
Lois Childs is a good actress.
Yeah.
I worked with her on a CSI, so I don't actually think it's necessarily her fault. She was terrific in Death on the Nile.
Yeah, all I can say is that her final line in this movie, when she just says, "Take me around the world one more time, James," I don't know. I love hearing her say it.
That was the only good line they gave her. But not only does she have a good line, the head and shoulder shot of her floating is probably the best anti-gravity part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Is that little, like, filming down on her,
just
floating.
That moment.
That one moment is the best anti-gravity moment of the fucking film.
Yeah. You feel it. You feel it.
I have to defend Dr. Holly Goodhead at this table. I know I'm going to get a lot of stares and groans right now, but she's my favorite Bond girl.
Oh my God.
Besides Lois Maxwell as Moneypenny, who I feel like gets overlooked a lot, but I love Dr. Holly Goodhead. After a string of, in my opinion, a little bit boring Bond girls, we got a smart, intelligent brunette. It did it for me. I loved it. I know that's not...
Well, you're like a smart, intelligent brunette, so you identified with the character.
Okay, well, let me push back on this a little bit. But what do you think about my comments about the idea that they had three different character traits for her, and they had never really quite decided which way to go with it. And so she's a little bit of, you know, do you see that or do you not see that? Do you think, no, she is her character?
Personally, I think she is her character because she's a CIA agent. When she's going there, she's playing other characters. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's as much as they're confused about her character rather than they say, you are a CIA agent undercover playing other characters.
Yeah, she's playing a rocket scientist.
She's playing a rocket scientist with NASA, which she kind of is with NASA, but isn't. But what I like about her is that she's just kind of doing her own thing. She's not depending on Bond. She's kind of our first, I don't want to say our first equal to Bond as a Bond girl, but she is.
I think that's what they wanted to do. I think she's more of an appendage. All right. You know, she's just the silent partner standing right next to him, shoulder to shoulder with him, but saying nothing for the last 20 minutes of the movie.
And that's fair because, as Roger pointed out, having the Ian Fleming Moonraker book in my hand, I actually do think that the character is a disservice to the Bond girl in this book, which is the only Bond girl that Bond does not get with in the novels, and is the only girl in the franchise not to be used in a film yet. In Die Another Day, Rosamund Pike's character was renamed to Miranda Frost from this Bond girl's name. Do you want to guess her name, Quentin?
No, what is it?
Gala Brand.
Oh, really?
I share a name with a Bond girl. I grew up my whole entire life never sharing my name with anything. And I have the coolest Bond girl, in my opinion.
Well, you were sharing your name with Gala Eluard, who was the
but not
wife
Gala
of Salvador
Brand.
Dali. Yeah.
Is she the same situation? She's
No,
the CIA?
she's actually, she works with, I think she's a secretary with the British Secret Service.
It's British police.
British police. Yeah. She's undercover with Hugo Drax. Hugo Drax has abducted her fiance, which is unknown to Bond. And Bond, over the course of the book, falls in love with her. But really, Gala Brand is there just to save her fiance, and she'll do anything to save him. So it's kind of this nice romantic thing where her and Bond in the end kind of just shake hands, and he's like, well, that one got away.
Okay. So
that is.
So then why do you love this Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox that's put through the flavortizing machine? All right. That is Holly Goodhead.
Man, I like a smart Bond girl. I like a rocket scientist CIA agent who just looks at James Bond and says, take me around the world one more time. She's just in it for the ride. She's as close to an equal as we're getting at this time period.
Yeah, it's a little tough. It's difficult because...
Well, wait a minute now. Okay, I don't know if I can go with that because Barbara Bach's Russian agent is pretty much literally his opposite number. And in the book, it's the only book told from her perspective.
That's interesting, yeah.
That's really, I mean, I've always been meaning to read that book because it's the only book that's written from the first person perspective of another character.
Yeah.
But my least favorite Bond movie of all time, for sure, is Octopussy.
Okay, now I have to say I've never actually seen Octopussy because it was one of those things where Never Say Never Again, which is mediocre at best, came out the same year as Octopussy, and I voted with my ticket money. But Edgar Wright has a great line about Octopussy. He's like, why would you make Austin Powers in a world where Octopussy already exists?
I personally love the line in the movie where she goes, my daddy calls me his little Octopussy. It's one of the most iconic Bond lines ever.
That's very disturbing to me that that's your favorite line.
It's a great line.
Well, thank you for your opinion, Gala. Now, FO.